What will happen to the USA if Russia and China unite? Members of the US Congress who oppose additional military aid to Ukraine frequently seek to justify their position by suggesting that China, rather than Russia, poses a greater threat to the US. They say that with China's assent, it is in America's interests to accommodate Russia, whereas Europe should bear the burden of Ukrainian security. Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today, we are going to talk about what will happen to the USA if Russia and China unite. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get started. Even Taiwan's government acknowledges that this reasoning is flawed. China and Russia work together to imperil the United States and its democratic allies, including Taiwan. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin both see the consolidation of democracy as an existential threat to their own rule. They collaborate to undertake hybrid warfare against the United States and other Western countries. Both countries share the same long-term foreign policy objectives: to promote autocracy, destroy democracies, and create a new international order in which a few strong powers may dominate weaker neighbors. Calls for the United States to strike a deal with Russia in order to focus on the Chinese threat are frequently accompanied by accusations that China poses a far more severe long-term risk. True, China's size, economic power, and global ambitions make it a far more serious opponent than Russia. But this misses the fact that Beijing employs Moscow as a tool to further its goals. In actuality, any attempt to pacify or accommodate Russia will only boost China and harm the United States. Vladimir Putin's state visit to Xi Jinping last week was intended to highlight the burgeoning relationship between Russia and China. However, beneath the pomp and ceremony lies the reality of Russia's growing reliance on Chinese imports. Meanwhile, China is carefully calibrating its policy to avoid upsetting the US and becoming overly reliant on Russia. The United States' efforts to curb China's supplies of dual-use items to Russia appear to be having an impact. Russia is struggling to secure the semiconductors and machine tools required to sustain its war effort. Furthermore, Putin's ambition to improve his declining gas income by developing a second pipeline to China has stalled. Nonetheless, China has emerged victorious in the aftermath of Russia's horrific conflict with Ukraine. China has extended its market presence in Russia and acquired affordable Russian hydrocarbons, but only to the extent necessary to maintain its diverse portfolio of energy supplies. Aborted trade growth. Chinese-Russian trade has increased dramatically after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, with bilateral trade increasing from $145 billion in 2021 to $240 billion in 2023. China has cemented its place as Russia's primary trading partner. During his visit to Beijing, Putin highlighted the major areas of cooperation as energy, agriculture, technology, infrastructure construction, and transportation. This essentially indicates that China is Russia's primary supply of goods classified as high priority by the United States. These commodities, which include semiconductors, telecommunications equipment, and machine tools, can be employed in both civilian and military applications. Monthly exports of these dual-use products from China to Russia exceeded $600 million in December 2023, but have subsequently declined to more than $300 million per month. Despite this drop, China's contributions to Russia's war effort through these shipments have been significant. Russia's reliance on China for these products increased from 32% in 2021 to 89% in 2023. The drop in supplies to Russia demonstrates Beijing's risk management in light of US actions. During his April 2024 visit to China, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken expressed worry that China is a major supplier to Russia's defense sector. He cautioned that if China fails to address this issue, the US may put more restrictions on Chinese banks and firms. By then, China had already begun to reduce its exports to Russia. Major Chinese banks had already refused to accept Russian clients who could be tied to the military-industrial complex. According to China's General Administration of Customs, China's exports to Russia fell by 16% in March, the first drop since mid-2022, with major declines in shipments of machinery and equipment. In April, year-over-year dollar shipments fell again by 13% to $8.3 billion. For the past few months, Russian entrepreneurs have complained that they have difficulty paying for any items, not only those subject to Western sanctions. US warnings did have an impact. A banker at one of China's Big Four state banks told Reuters that the bank had intensified its monitoring of Russia-related enterprises in order to avoid sanctions risk. The main reason is to avoid unnecessary troubles, he told me. However, it is uncertain how legitimate China's decreased cargo numbers are. Transactions between China and Russia will increasingly go through underground channels. The chairman of a trade organization in a southeastern region that promotes Chinese enterprises with Russian interests told Reuters. Making payments in cryptocurrencies, which have been outlawed in China since 2021, could be the only alternative, according to a Moscow-based Russian banker. It's impossible to pass through KYC, Know Your Customer, at Chinese banks, big or small, the financial institution employee claimed. Energy relations and revenue energy is a pillar of Sino-Russian economic relations and a litmus test for the Russian government's ability to safeguard its long-term economic interests. For years, Moscow has pushed to expand its pipeline connections to China, a project that became especially relevant after 2022 and 2023. By attempting to put pressure on European countries through his control of European gas markets, Putin urged them to diversify swiftly and at any cost, which Europe did. In 2023, Norway and Algeria became the main providers of pipeline gas to Europe, having previously supplied less gas than Gazprom alone until 2022. Gazprom lost its most important market, which the Soviet Union and Russia spent decades developing and maintaining. In 2023, Gazprom recorded a $7 billion loss, the first since 1999. The Power of Siberia 1 gas pipeline, which has been active since 2019, is Russia's long-term goal to expand its transportation route to China. However, Xi Jinping has rejected Moscow's attempts to clinch a contract for Siberia 2. Such a greater reliance on Russia would undermine China's energy security plan. China, which imports 42% of its gas supply, has made efforts over the last 2 decades to diversify its energy imports to reduce its reliance on any single source, writes Aikun Yu, a senior East Asia strategist with Global Energy Monitor. Despite this, Russia's overall oil and gas revenues remain solid and have recently grown significantly. In the first quarter, oil and gas income to the Russian government totaled nearly 3 trillion rubles, approximately $33 billion, representing an incredible 80% year-over-year increase. One source of this is the ruble's nearly 25% devaluation. However, the main driver is the rise in Russian oil prices as a result of the reduction of a discount on Urals oil, Russia's benchmark brand, to Brent. China is profiting the most from Moscow's growing dependence on Beijing. Overall, Russia's economic position remains exceptionally strong. The West has had mixed success in reducing Russia's primary revenue source and China's ability to provide Moscow with dual-use commodities. China, for its part, has managed to strike a balance between relations with the US and Russia. New thinking is required to influence Russia's willingness and ability to wage war on Ukraine and the West. That's the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.